Hello, everyone. It is your girl, Trisha, checking back in with y'all. And for today, what I want to talk to you guys is the urgency of being in conflict with yourself. Because until you're able to confront who you are, and until you're able to take off the mask that you are, who you are internally, it is hard for you to step into your purpose. And the reason I'm telling you it's hard to step into your purpose is because you have to leave a mask on, which means you will never be able to understand your vulnerabilities all the way. And if you do understand them, you have to then hide them because you're trying to keep up an image in who you're not. What do I mean by that? Well, let's start with the whispers that come that lets you know you're supposed to be heading into this direction. But yet you look at that direction and you say, that is not what I built my life off of. That is not how I built my business. That is not how I built my relationships with people. I was used to bullying people, or I was used to showing up as this loud, obnoxious person, but in deep down inside, you're the scared little boy, you're the scared little girl, but yet you're afraid to admit who you are. Those are subtle nudges to tell you to embrace who you are. Because unless you let your authentic light shine, you are stopping others from letting their light shine. Why? Because you're not a catalyst for change. Instead, you're a catalyst for living a fake life. Not an authentic life, but a fake life in which no one can use it. So that flame that you keep having, you wondering why it keeps burning out. It keeps burning out because you're not giving it the proper fuel to keep it lit. Ooh, message. Let's pay attention. What do I mean by that? You have to start paying attention to those inner whispers that come to you. Those inner whispers. Those moments when you're in silence and you have a moment with Jesus. Ooh. He's able to tell you who you are. And for a moment you believe it. But once you get up from that moment, you go back and put on that mask. Why? Because you didn't want to be that vulnerable for the world. But at what cost would you keep that mask on? Because I want to know what profit of man to gain the world, but to lose himself, to lose his loved ones, and to lose the things that's around him that will really fulfill him and bring him joy. You have to, in life, when you are in conflict with yourself, you have to ask yourself what are going to bring you fleeting moments and what is going to bring you moments into your intuition that brings you your joy and your happiness. Because it's going to be hard to discern. Because when your intuition starts showing up, your fear is going to start showing up. Why? Because you have to wrestle with yourself. You have to wrestle with your doubts. And you're going to have to put one under submission. But which one is going under submission? Which one? Because either way, one of you got to step out. Everybody be like, oh, no. What you talking about, Trisha? What you talking about? In life, when you're stepping out, either you're going to step out as your authentic self, whether people like it or not, or you're going to step out with a mask on and be what is socially a social norm. But the only person who has a choice on what that looks like is who? You, baby. You. Y-O-U. Yes. If that's you, y'all need to start popping stuff in the comment. Yes, your girl is leveling up. And as she leveling up, I'm asking for you to do the same. It is not enough for me to come on the videos, but it is something for you to engage. So don't forget to push that like, subscribe, and share button. Let's push this message forward because it is a lot of people out here who still living in their false identity and they don't know that they're doing it because they're looking at the people around them. I'm going to take a subject matter, right? For any of us who grew up in poverty, where everyone around you is either on alcohol, drugs, over-sexualized, molested, understanding that it ain't nothing but gangs and all that out there, right? And then they plant you in the midst of it. And even though you're entangled with it, you also had a piece of yourself that says this isn't right. But when you're young and you're vulnerable and you're impressionable, in those moments you realize you are outnumbered and you can't fight. So you conform to those norms. The problem is once you conform to those norms and got yourself in a position that got you out of there, you stayed in there. Why? Because that was familiar. That was understanding there. That was who you built your whole identity off of. Not realizing you were supposed to shift. And most people call it shape shift. Because now you're supposed to shift into the identity in which God has given you. Our Lord Jesus Christ has given you. He had asked you to lay those burdens down. He said he knew these people did you wrong. He knew they talked about you. He knew they abused you. He knew these things. And it hurt his heart. But what hurts his heart more is that he knows that this happened to you. And then when he even lets you feel the pain, you still haven't changed. All because of a failure. All of that feeling like a failure. All because you didn't want no one else to see what you were going to be or who you were going to become. But let me tell you what. They feel it even if you didn't say it. Ooh. So this urgency of being in conflict with yourself, it is not because you're thinking you're still hiding. That facade, baby, that you thought you were playing on, that level you thought you were playing on, that giddy up that you thought you had, let me tell you, the world already seen it. And they was like, damn, we're going to rock with this person because we see who they are. And eventually this is going to come off and they're going to be in their full alignment and they're going to be who God called them to be. But so many of us is getting stuck in the urgency of our own conflict. We are acting like we don't know any better. So let me tell you what we're going to do today, baby. We're going to understand the prevalence of change. Ooh. Right now, when this world is starting to try to go upside down and people are leaning on you, drawing on your energy, going into your channels, coming into your world, calling your phone, and yet you still refuse to level up or learn something new, or understand that even though society said, hey, you shouldn't be like this, you still conforming, you are not helping. In fact, you are in conflict. And when you start getting in conflict like that, you start having doubt rise. You start seeing your money dwindle. You start seeing that the things that once came easily to you in life start to get harder because you are not living in your true identity. At some point in life, you have to understand the risk of stepping out and being misunderstood. You have to step out at the risk of being misunderstood. Baby, let me tell you what. Let me tell y'all what. Your girl is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? But it was always something my mama told me as a little girl that stuck with me through all my trials and tribulations in life. She said, Trisha, it does not look good to be bad and stupid. To be bad and stupid. And I said, Mom, what does that mean? She said, it don't look good. And she left it at that. So she let you put your own interpretations on what you thought she meant. And as I was going through life, and after I got out of high school and stuff, and I was like, dang, because I was happy I graduated, right? And I said, well, I'm going to go to college. And then that lasted for about 2 semesters. Like 2 semesters. So at 18, your girl was just out here. It wasn't enough I was out here younger than that. But like 18, I had a chance to really wow out, okay? And I said, when I finally got about 20, my homeboy, he had set me down. Actually, it wasn't even really my homeboy like that. It was my girl, her guy. He set me down. He said, let me tell you something about life. I said, what's that? He said, you want me to tell you why I respect my baby mama? I said, no, why you respect your baby mama? Because you out here with my homegirl. He said, because my baby mama at home. She's still studying. She's still going to school, and she's still getting her purpose. He said, whatever she do outside of that time that me and her ain't together, I don't know. He said, but I respect her so much because she kept her purpose. She kept whatever she really wanted to do in life. She kept it, and she kept moving. And I had sat there with him that day while we were still smoking a blunt, because back then I used to smoke heavy, right? I needed it morning, noon, and night. And I said, oh, okay, or whatever. And I had this urgency to be like, what, you know what I'm saying? And then it brought me back to what my mama said. You can't be bad and stupid. And I had looked over my life of all the times when I got myself in trouble, I had to be smart enough to get myself out of it. Out of all the times that I was out here on drugs and drinking and doing all of that stuff, I had to be smart enough to still put my head in some books. I had to be smart enough to understand where I was still going in life. And it didn't all add up until I got pregnant with my first baby. And I was like, ooh, Lord, I need to change, because how I'm going to take care of him if this man decides to leave me? That's what made me have to go back to school and to nursing, to make me start building a real foundation. And when I look at myself now, I'm like, thank you, God, that all the stuff that I've been through in life, that you still made sure I had a purpose. You still had me lined up into a direction. And not all of it still makes sense to me, bruh. Not all of it still makes sense to me, sis. But he started ordering your steps a long time ago. But you had started blocking them out. You started dissociating from all of the things that was giving you purpose. You started dissociating from it because it was too painful. Too painful for you to remember. Too painful for you to swallow. So you dissociate. That ain't part of me. 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 Baby, it is you. They're all the stepping stones that brought you to this level, but now you're taking them for granted. So when I tell you it's an urgency on who you are and why you're in conflict, because you have both good and evil in you. But you also have the wisdom. You have the discernment to turn. Are you going to turn? Are you going to pour back into the people to be like, even though I know you're going through this, let me show you something. Let me tell you something. I got a message for you. I know what it's like to be in conflict with myself. I know what it's like to walk around with the mask and not really wanting to let it go or shed off. Why? Because I lived it. But at some point, you gotta go back into your spirit. I did a clip not long ago that said, ooh, protect your peace like it's a newborn baby. Baby, protect yourself like you're a newborn baby. Let yourself be reborn. Let yourself have a chance to go back and learn the things in life that you need to learn. There are messages, there are lessons. And until you get that lesson learned, you can't go on to that next step. You can see it. Ooh, it's like Moses when he was leading them people to the promised land. Except for they were so afraid. It's right there in front. They can see it, but they were so afraid of it. Because they seen all these different enemies and all the different people who was over the land that they were supposed to inhabit. And they didn't want to go down that road. Why? Because that's the road less traveled. Ain't nobody finna walk straight through the enemy's camp. But y'all forgot that the hell gates was open. That those were meant for you to walk through. That they were meant for you to go get your keys. Not the way that it happened, you might not have liked it. Because that could have been somebody talking about you. That could have been somebody abusing you. That could have been somebody self-sabotaging you. That could have been you self-sabotaging yourself. But in the process of it, you learned a lesson. The problem was, did you pick up your key or did you leave it on the ground and you kept going as if it didn't matter? Because the keys that you are getting matter. They're all keys to unlock your grand door. For you to get your grand interest. But when you don't pick up your keys, when you are in denial of who you are, there are other doors for other people who stay locked. They stay hidden because you didn't have the vulnerability. I want to say the balls. But you didn't have it. To walk it out. And now you using everything and everybody as a crutch. Ooh, in this season, you got to learn how to stop playing victim. You got to understand that the things that's happening in your life is created by the purpose and the direction in which you chose. When you chose to treat somebody wrong, you had chose for someone else to do you wrong. When you chose to give life, life is given to you. When you chose to be a lighter for somebody else's flame, your flame stayed lit. What oil are you using to burn your flame? What grade? What grade of oil are you using? You using man oil? You using Jesus oil? Who oil are you using? Yeah. Yeah. Who oil are you using in this season, baby? In life, you have to be able to take action, and you have to be able to have preservation through that. Meaning that when the time comes for you to show up as your authentic self, sit that mask down and step out in that vulnerability. It is there to grow you, and it is there for you to have your soul tribe with you. A lot of your soul tribe who with you are already looking and being like, this girl crazy. So they like to applaud you in silence. They like to follow you in silence because they know that you're chosen. They just don't know if you're going to get across that bridge and everybody is going to socially accept it. So they have to do it in a sneaky way. But at what point do you make that sneaky way reality, baby? Pop it out and let the world see it. Let the world know whether you think I'm right or wrong, whether you think that I'm not living in my full potential. But I know when I have partnered with God and I know that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, baby, then I know which way I stepped out. So it might look crazy to y'all, but I understood something about my father. He told me, he said, baby, I use the foolish things of this world to get my missions done. He said, I use those crazy imperfections. He said, baby, when you got these people researching you and you got these people looking you up and you got these people entertained and they just trying to figure out if they can watch you from afar. They ain't trying to tell you they watching you. They trying to watch you from afar. He said, it's an urgency of you being you. It's an urgency of you stepping up to the plate. It's an urgency for you to get up that mountain. It's an urgency, baby, for you to get down there and walk it out and show these people what it's really like. He said, because they didn't realize how hood I made you until you had to step out and show them no matter what, you still got the mission done. No matter how many foolish things you did in this world and this records to track it, he said, baby, you still stuck to the path. He said, when they told you come become a nurse, you sat in front of that board and you told that board exactly who you were. He said, when they told you that after this DWY, you could not make it, you could not pervert. He said, I gave you the provisions and I gave you the tools to step it out and show them that they was crazy. It would not break you. He said, when you starting to walk out your purpose, the things that people try to put up against you would not break you. But at what cost would you not give him back what he gave you in return? He said, stop trying to give him a little penny. Don't penny pinch him. He said, baby, I gave you the whole dollar and you trying to give me back a penny. He said, what I gave you, I at least need my 10% back. Is you at least giving God his 10% back? He said, baby, these people know that they indebted to you, but it's an urgency for you to know why these people is indebted to you. And it ain't just about money. It's about the impartation that they had every time they stepped up into your presence. It was them understanding that you were a catalyst for change. But you won't know that until you take your mask off and see the reality of what you are helping people with and what you had to sit down. He said, and sometimes the things that you had to sit down was the things that was embedded into you from birth. Yep. I could look at my own life and then it's like, wow, you spent 7 months in your mom's womb getting served alcohol to spend the last 40 years of your life drinking alcohol. He said that right there, that was a principality that was placed over you. So you would never, ever have an inkling idea of who you were. Because when people know that you are mighty, when people know that you are called, when people know that you are chosen, they will hide you from you. They will purposely have you put on a mask. They will purposely have you in conflict with yourself. Because if I let you know who you are, you will see everything that was what that I built up to this moment was fake. But so many people got used to being fake is the new real that when something real comes into their life and it doesn't have a harsh reality for them to have to walk through, they don't want it. Why people don't want it? Because I had to fight for everything. How can something like this come to me? Because, baby, it is your season. It is your time. You are no longer in the giving or transactional relationships of your life. You are in your receiving. You are in your abundancy season. And if you don't wake up and stop being in conflict of your past and who you think you should be, and you don't learn how to take that mask off, you are going to be spending another 40 years trying to walk around that same mountain before you realize you're free. He said, what I got for you, I'm not trying to have you see it when you die. He said, I'm trying to give you heaven on earth. But it's up to you if you're going to help him bring down heaven on earth and walk out the dream that he gave you. It is your dream, baby. And can nobody do your dream like you? Ooh, can nobody do your dream like you? So at what point are y'all going to sit down and surrender? Yes, you got to sit down. You have to surrender. You have to go within yourself and realize who you are. Is you lowly at heart? Is your heart so low that you can be able to receive and have empathy and compassion for someone else? It ain't enough that it's just filled up to the overflow when you don't know what lonely feel like. How low did you really go in life? And did you get messages and downloads in that low spot? And when you started getting filled up and your ambitions and everything started to grow, didn't you understand what that felt like? At some point in life, y'all gonna have to sit down and be like, yep, this is where I'm at in life. This is who I am in life. And these are the people who bring me joy in my life. And not everybody who brings you joy is gonna be socially acceptable to the group that you're in. So you gotta pay attention to that too. Yes, because people are going to tell you, you better date this type of girl. You better date this type of woman. She looks good for your image. Not realizing it might be good for your image, but bad for your soul. So you got to know what unlocks your potential. What unlocks your potential? What transformation did you go through? The transformation that you are going through, did it really unlock you, or did you still have to keep a piece of you hidden? Because in this season, when God's telling you to shake off what no longer serves you, it might bring you something. It might bring you something. Let's talk about this. In life, I know something could be bad for me, but it could be filling a temporary need. It could be getting me over this next hump of life. It could be bringing me a little prosperity, but at the end of it, what transformation did I go through? And what did I have to kill? Was it something that was supposed to prosper me, that brought me more truth about me, or did I have to hide that part of me in order to gain material wealth? If y'all looking for that material wealth and y'all want to be yoked with the world, let me tell you something. The higher you go with that material wealth, the harder your fall gonna be, baby, because you ain't gonna make sure you have no sturdy foundation to lie up on. And the ones you did wrong and you stepped on, and you're trying to look back, because when it all fall down, you're going to be sitting over here trying to pay back them debts, trying to do extra services and being like, oh, I need to help this person. I need to talk to this person. I need to apologize to this person. Not realizing as much as you stepped on the person, do they want to talk to you? Do they want to hear that from you? Because 9 times out of 10 in their life, they done moved on and they done found the real reason and the real purpose in order to fulfill what God asked them to. And what would that look like when they step back in time with you? Ooh, what would that look like for them? What would it look like for you? Come on now, we got to talk about these things. It's too many masses. It's too much fake stuff going on. It's too many people not being real, and it's too many people not understanding that they're in conflict with themselves because they hiding on behind these masses and they telling everybody that it looked good or this person crazy, not realizing that same person they called crazy was holding a blessing, but they didn't want it, so then they passed it up to go get mediocrity. So now they're gonna be living in their own wilderness, not realizing that that wilderness was not, that it wasn't supposed to be there to continue. It was supposed to wake you up and let you see what your purpose was, but instead you got complacent. Why? Because all the stuff that you learned throughout your life, you got used to living in chaos. So now when you get some peace, you don't even understand peace. You got to go back to chaos. When you get peace, you call it fake. Ooh, message. It ain't fake. Peace is peace. Peace is paramount. Y'all got to start finding the joy within y'all. What are y'all grateful for? What will help you live a meaningful life? If you don't do anything else, ask yourself, what would you really feel like if you were really, really, really cultivated in your own life? If you really lived up to who you really are. If you really took the time to say, what does my future me look like? And compare it to the person that you are now. And ask yourself, are you even making small steps to who you said that new person is? Or are you finding ways to mask yourself because it's easier? I'm going to tell y'all something I learned about my life. The more I drank, it was because the more I was trying to hide who I was. Because she was powerful. She was mighty. This future, I'm looking at this lady, she's mighty. She ain't taking nothing from nobody. Even if she has a lot to give. But the lady I done wrote down on this paper, she is mighty. In order for me to step into her, you know how much, every day I gotta die again to myself. Every day I gotta die. The things that I said I wanted, I realized when you ask God to strip you, or when he tells you he gonna strip you, he's stripping you from you. He's snatching you from you. You can fight him, but it's a wrestling of your own spirit. It causes you to go in a restless mode. But you got choices, because God said he don't care. If he got to drag you by that one leg and pull you across this threshold, he said, baby, I chose you. And when he chooses you, you don't have no choice but to respond to his call, because he will start shutting doors on you that you didn't know he was going to be able to shut. He starts stripping relationships from you that you thought was going to hold you down. He started removing people and things and objects from your life that you didn't even know that you needed until it was gone. All because you wouldn't answer his call. But you can pick up a call for somebody who want to gossip. Call you and be like, girl, did you see such and such at the club last night? Did you see what? But you can't answer the call of your life. But you can't answer the call that's over your life. It's scary. When it's calling you to come into the deep. Ooh, when it's calling you to walk through your own shadows. When it's calling you. It's nudging you. It's pulling at you. But you're afraid to step into your own deep waters because you're afraid of judgment. But at some point in your life, it don't matter what nobody calls you, baby. It's what God has said about you. It's about the last thing that God has spoke over you. It ain't, you know what? People gonna talk about you. They have no choice. Because sometimes you're doing what they cannot do or they have no courage to do. But when you are being called to stand in your light, when you are called to be standing in your purpose, you got to do that against all odds. You're going to have to do that looking foolish. You went to go stand in the line at a club. But you can't stand on the line, on the front line for God. Make it make sense in this season. When you have an urgency to die to this conflict that's within you. But you won't do it. Another drink ain't gonna fix it. Another high ain't gonna fix it. Another sexual encounter ain't gonna fix it in this season. The only way you're gonna fix this is if you take that mask off and you get up on your own cross and you die to self. And when you done, you pick up that cross and now you walk. And you walk into your purpose, because everything that you put up on that cross that said no longer serves you are going to be the very things that try to get you back into that. And you got to know when to let it go and to walk out what was really meant for you. It is your girl Trisha. I am checking back in with the Wednesday message to tell you, yes, conflict is going to arise within you, but it is up to you to fight. It is up to you to build. It is up to you to know what has to be demolished in this season. And the only way you're going to get that is if you wrestle in that conflict with yourself in this season. For you can pull up and pluck out what no longer serves you and walk into your purpose, baby. It is meant for you to grasp and to hold. But it's only one way for you to get there. And that's through your spirit. Ooh, through your spirit, baby. It is your girl, Trisha, checking back in. Y'all don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. If you feel led, put a comment in there. Let me know if your life is really changing. Yes. At the bottom, if you need resources, because I'm about to start opening it up where I'm about to start doing me some classes within this for others who want that help. Holla at your girl. Let's partner for the good in this season. I left my email below if you feel led. I left my Cash App below. And if you feel led, don't forget, like, subscribe, share. And if the message don't resonate with you, push the like and subscribe anyway, because as long as you pushing the message out, it is there to help the person who needs it, even if it isn't helping you. At the end, y'all be safe. Love on each other. We all we got.